stand down here. Can I stand down here? I feel better. You okay with that? I don't have to go up on stage. I'm excited to be here. I really am. Realty 1? Like, come on, this is awesome. First off, I want to thank Berg for getting me here. Berg and I go back a long way, as he said. I want to thank J-Lo for putting this together, Jennifer. Mostly I want to thank you for being here. Berg was a little nervous yesterday. He said, you know, the weather isn't going to be so good, they might not come out. And I said, I know. Hey, listen, I flew in from Charlotte last night. It was a real bumpy flight, let me tell you, 5 hours of jumping around the plane. But last week I was in New York. In New York, I got out just before the snow hit, but it was raining there, and I thought, oh, this is okay, because I'm going to California. Where the sun is sunny here, right? Then I got up this morning after hearing the weather forecast, and a song came back to me, a song from the 60s. It never rains in California, but girl, let me warn you. It pours, man, it pours, right? Yeah, so I'm here. I'm very, very, again, pleased, honored to be here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself so you can understand that I do have some credibility in this business, and hopefully that will help you understand some of the suggestions I'm going to offer to you over the next hour. And I'll try to talk fast so that but you have to listen fast so that we can speed up things a little bit. I'm going to share some ideas with you that worked in my career in real estate and build my career, help build it, and leave you with some ideas I hope that will help build your life and enhance your life as well. So that being said, let's see where we're going here. Oh, that's a little weird. So I want to talk with you about how I sold 100 homes a year, made lots of money and had lots of fun. I did that as a solo agent. And it kind of starts with, we're going to talk about this with you in a minute, about my why. Everyone on the planet has a why. That's why are you here today? Why did you get into real estate? Why do we do anything that we do? So my why started a number of years ago. I married my high school sweetheart. I'm from Connecticut, actually. I was born in New York, but grew up in Connecticut. I married my high school sweetheart, thinking that marriage was an institution that was going to last for a lifetime. However, after a long-term marriage, he did not want to be institutionalized anymore, and he booked out on me. And with that, he had a very good lawyer, and so he did what his lawyer recommended. He took all the money, wiped out the bank accounts, and left me with nothing, 4 incredibly awesome kids, and a broken heart. Okay, and at the time, my dad was alive. I have a very supportive family. I'm one of 8 kids, and we all stick together, and they were like, Helen, you know, you can get through this. And I said, really? I don't have a college education, remember? I gave that up, put it on the back burner to have Christine. And they said, but that's okay. Why don't you consider a career in real estate? And honestly, I thought they were all crazy. I said, real estate, I've heard about people in real estate, and it's not really good. I said, I have a good reputation. People in town like me. I was involved with PTO and churches, and I said, I don't know if I want to get into real estate. And my dad said, Ellen, he said, I still remember this, what he said. God rest his soul. He said, Ellen, he said, the single most important purchase or sale most people will make is a home. So why don't you see what you can do to help other people's dreams come true? Sounds a little hokey, but you know what? It resonated with me, and I thought, why not? Well, that was back in 1986, towards the end of 86. Was anyone here in this room in real estate in 1986, 87? Oh, we got one hand, one veteran. Okay, well, let me tell you, the rest of you, what was going on back there in the history of this country. So the stock market crashed. It was October 19th, 1987. That's historical. And for the first time in the history of real estate crashed. I had 4 kids to feed, by the way, so I couldn't pay attention to what was going on in the real estate world, although many other people in my office did, and they said the market was terrible. Well, before all this happened to me, or as it was happening, the way that I was able to feed my kids was something I never dreamed I'd have to do in my life. Came from a middle-class family, but I didn't ask for help. It was me standing on a food stamps line in Connecticut, getting food stamps so I could feed them. And that was very humiliating for me, very hard. I thought, this isn't working for me. I'm in real estate. I was with a company that said they had a lot of training. By the way, there's a lot of companies out there that say they have training, and they don't all. That's why I'm doing what I do today. What I did though was I took my kids every night to the public library and I put them in the kitty corner and I went over to sales and I read every single book I could on sales, okay? Night after night. And every book I read on sales said, you've got to be motivated to be in this business. So I read every single book I could in every library, in every Connecticut, on motivation. And the motivation section said you've got to be inspired, so I read books on inspiration. So here I am. My first year in business, I closed 28 deals in a market that other people said was terrible. I got my business to a point where I was closing 100 deals a year as a solo agent. And I did that because I developed systems in the business. And I had some other ideas that I'm going to share a few of them with you right now. So my big why was to feed my 4 kids, okay? And to be able to be financially free. And honestly, I don't know where I could have gone that many years ago, or even today, where you can go, when you know what you're doing, when you have the little tricks to the trade that you can earn the kind of money that we can earn. By the way, flying in over here, I've been to San Diego. It's been about 10 years. I used to drive over from Arizona with my sister. We'd come over about twice a year. It was fun. But when I flew in, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of houses down there. A lot. You got a lot of houses in this area. And I was excited because I thought, that's great. You probably have a lot of realtors in this area too, huh? Yeah, every other household. But that's okay. Someone said to me the other day, it's so hard to be in this business because there's just so many people out there doing real estate. There's people who are licensed, let me tell you this, and there's people doing the business, okay? So separate yourself from those people right away. Anyway, so that was my big why, was my 4 kids. That didn't change. But sometimes things change in our lives, and sometimes life gets in the way of our life, all of us. And we can modify the big whys in our whys as we go along in our life. And I needed to make a little modification in 1994 when I was diagnosed with almost stage 4 breast cancer. And the doctor said, okay, it doesn't look good. He said, you can go home and get your life in order. You have about 2 years left. And I said, oh, that's not working with me, Doc. I said, let me tell you something. I'm a single mother with 4 kids, okay? I haven't seen them finish high school yet. I want to see that. I'd like to see them get through college. I want them to get married. And guess what? I want to be a grandmother. And I'm a full-time licensed professional realtor with 57 listings. I have no time to die. So what got me through that year, one of the worst health years, I never had a health problem in my life. I was never in the hospital once, except to have babies. But what got me through that, and 9 months of absolutely horrific chemotherapy that darn near killed me, was this business. And that is why I'm here today, is because of the real estate business and how it saved my life, not just financially, but mentally. And I vowed to myself when I started out as a new agent, when I had nothing, no money, nothing, that if I ever made it, I said, God, if I ever make it in this business, would you please help me pass something along to someone else so that maybe I can help them make it in this business. And those of you who know me, and as you get to know me a little bit more, you know I'm passionate about this business. You know how much I love it, right? And you know I do, and that comes from here. So that being said, if I could do it, an ordinary person from Connecticut, without even a full college education, certainly any of you folks out here in California and anywhere on the planet can do it too. So keep that in mind, please. My why hasn't changed. So with that, let's see. What makes an ordinary person an extraordinary salesperson? You need a why. So take a minute, not even a minute, we don't have that much time. Take a second to say to yourself, this is my why. This is why I got into real estate. You know, this is why I want to be successful in real estate. It's funny because when I talk to people, they say, oh, I got into real estate because I love people. Oh, really? That's not going to happen too long, yeah. I love showing houses. I love houses. I just love looking at houses. Yeah, right. I am happy when someone tells me, Ellen, I got into real estate because I'd like to earn a good income, because I'd like to have some money, because I'd like financial freedom. And that makes me happy. And you know, people are afraid to say that. For some reason in this country, more than anywhere else, I think on the planet, people are afraid to say, I don't want to be rich. Why are we afraid to say that? There's nothing wrong with money, by the way. There's nothing wrong with a lot of money, okay? What's wrong when people say money is the root of all evil? The wrong is what people, how they get the money sometimes is wrong. If they're robbing a bank or doing, drugs or whatever else, that's wrong. And what they do with the money, if they're not sharing it with someone else or helping their families and friends and charities, then that's not good. But there's nothing wrong. Are we okay can we all agree in California here that there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money? Who said that? Where I get that hoo-hoo from? I like it. Do that again here. That was really woo-woo. Yeah. Okay. So you think the way we think in Connecticut, by the way. It's interesting listening to the attorney talking about CAR. We have CAR too, although it's not California. It's Connecticut Association of Realtors. So, and by the way, if you think real estate's done differently here in California than it is in Connecticut or North Carolina where I live now, or New York, or Utah, or Maine, you're grossly mistaken. I will tell you, California kids out here, you're gorgeous. You really are the cream of the crop of this country. You're looking good. I always talked about the California, everyone, Beach Boys did, and I wondered how beautiful they were, and here I am looking at you, and you certainly are. And handsome, by the way. However, real estate's the same. It's the same, and just listening to him talk, it's just, I really thought I was back in Connecticut where I did most of my business. So you need a why. This is what is going to make you extraordinary. You must be a self-starter, okay? This I didn't make up, by the way. I network on a regular basis, all the time, even this morning, with top producers from Maine to California about what's going on, what keeps them going, what do they think, I can share with other people, and this is what I come up with, okay? You must have goals. So must have goals written and specific. Today, February, well, by now you should have already gone over your business planning here with your managers. That would have been an October practice for everyone in business or real estate. I know this is basic, and you're probably thinking, oh, I've heard this all before. Where'd you get her from, Burke? But I'd like to know how many people in here actually have written specific goals. I'm talking about something written down. Thank you. You get an A+. Written and specific. And you know what? There's something psychologically about this. You can't just say I have a goal. You'd have to prove it to me. I do a lot of coaching. I do one-on-one coaching with people, as Burke had said. And I have to actually have them take a screenshot and send it to me, because it's not that I don't believe them. I just want to see it, And and there's something about, and you cannot, if you're going to do your goal writing and goal planning, it's not on the computer. That's a different thought process. You've got to do the hand, the power of the pen. You've got to do it with your handwritten goals. And what's that?
How about carved in stone?
We could be interactive, huh?
Yes. How about carved in stone?
Carved in stone? Well, if you do it with a pen, yes, but not with a computer. Okay. You must work every day that ends in Y. Okay. So when Burke said, maybe they're not going to come out because it's supposed to rain, I'm thinking, really? These are business people, and boy, am I thrilled you're here, because I am looking at probably some of the best salespeople, Burke, in this part of California. Am I? Because let me just clue you in on the others, and I can say this because I'm a realtor, and all due respect to all of us, but those folks that had something else going on today that was more important, unless they're out with a client. Really? Really? We did run into someone yesterday in one of Burke's beautiful office there. Burke said, am I going to see you tomorrow? And the person said, no, I'm busy. So I always say, are you busy or are you productive? But just a little thought. Every day, if you want to get to that next level, if you're looking to earn money, more and more money, you need to work in this business on every day that ends in Y. Those, by the way, are the days that most people think we should drink, too. So you always have to look for more knowledge. Learn. So God bless you came out here today to learn a little something from someone. We've learned from the attorney on what to do and what not to do, how to stay out of jail. Learn, okay? You must memorize scripts. Oh, boy, I'm big on this one. All right, so in sales, when people ask me, what is a real, give me some secrets to success. And one of the most powerful ones is really having scripts, so that it flows off of your mouth and it's real. It comes from the heart. But we've got to have scripts in every aspect, whether you're working with a seller, the buyer, or just you're talking to someone down the street, all right? Very, very important that you have scripts. There are a lot of trainers out there, a lot of people that speak, and they have huge books on, 3 inches thick of scripts and stuff that you would never say to anybody. I'm talking about a few simple little sales scripts, but you have to have them. You must have knowledge of the marketplace. So I was talking with Burke, and I did some research myself. What is the average home sale in this area? Price. Spit out a number.
800.
Huh?
800.
800. Huh?
About 580.
About 580, 800. This is something you, professionals, you really need to know this. I mean, I'm not testing you on it, but this is something you need to know, because if I come to you and I say, hey, look, I'd like to duplicate the house I live in right now in Charlotte. So I have 3,500 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3-car garage, that's what I have, beautiful pool, and I want to get it I want to sell my house there, and I want to pick that up here for $375. Guess I'm not buying a house in Cali, huh? How come that's important? Because that person's going to come to you, and you need to tell them, send them to Charlotte, okay? No, seriously, this is, when I talk about the knowledge of the marketplace, it's all the demographics. It's not just that, it's everything. This is really a serious part of this business that I don't believe is being done enough with people in our business. Because right now, the buyers are able to get all this information. And if they have more information than you, how do you look? Yeah, And years ago, we were all taught to say, well, if you don't have the answer, and still say this, I don't know what it is, but I'll find out. That's still a great answer. However, we have to be one step ahead of those buyers, because they're looking to work with people who are professionals. And more so than ever, isn't that right? So again, whether it's California or Utah or Maine, it doesn't matter. That's what they're looking for. You must believe in yourself. And I'm going to talk about this, and we're going to hit on this as we go over the next few minutes, but you have to have an incredibly strong belief system in who you are and why, going back to the why you're here and why you're doing what you're doing. It has to come from in here, okay? And sometimes that's hard for us. It's hard to work on, because that belief system from the time we're little can get damaged. We start out as little babies crawling around, and we're very confident, and oftentimes the first thing that we hear is, oh, don't do that, don't get near the stairs, watch out, don't. And then when we get a little older, when we're like 5 and 6, we start meeting new friends, and that's when they say things like, you're not pretty, you're fat, you're ugly. So that kind of puts us down a bit, huh? Well, that's happened to all of us, I think. So what we need to do is, as we mature and as we grow older, we have to kind of go within. I always say, if you don't go within, you go without. You'll hear me say that again. So you have to have, this is what the top producers are telling me, you have to believe in yourself. You must be excited about your profession. Yay, rah, rah. What's this Realty One Group? Woo! Oh boy, I think they're getting tired now. Realty One Group, huh? Woo! I love your logo. I love your Realty One Group, and I love you. And like Burke said, one of the main reasons, again, back to why I'm here today, it's not for me. I don't need to be here. I mean, I didn't need to take that 5-hour bumpy trip, but after meeting the Realty One Group folks that I met 2 years ago, I said to Burke, I said, you know what, I'm in front of a lot of agents all over the country, but there's an incredible energy in this room, and I'm feeling it today, by the way, with you folks, that I don't often feel with other groups and other companies. And I said, if you have that many people going to this brand, that tells me something about the brand. And it's also about the people. Where's Burke? I hope he's not here. Because I really don't care about the brand. I care about you. The brand is very important. People call the companies, but they hire you. So it's you that I care about, because you're the ones that are in the trenches. But you need to be excited about your profession. So what do you do for a living? Well, look at that. Gentleman asked me before. He left. Hope it wasn't before I said something. Anyway, yes, he said, where'd you get that pin from? Of course, they're real diamonds, aren't they? But I've always got something on me, signature, something that I have on in my life. It's part of me getting up in the morning. So whether I'm going to the food store, or whether I'm on an airplane, I travel a lot, right? And I have my little thing on, and the flight attendant will almost always say to me, so, are you in real estate? And I'll say, yeah, I am. So, are you a flight attendant? And I don't have enough time to go into some real life stories, but I tell you, I have made money on referrals, taking flights by people that hear that I'm in the business of real estate and they have houses to sell and I refer them. And I can't get into that right now, but I'm telling you, these are real stories. Be proud of it. I'm excited about being a realtor. I love being in the business of real estate. I love it because of you, and I love it because of what I can do to help other people, as Dad said, make their dreams come true. And I hope I represent it well for everyone, because you know what? When I talk about being a realtor, it affects everybody else in the industry. Did you know that there's a 1,300,000 licensed realtors in the United States of America today? Do you know that? Did you know that 1 million of them live here in California, though? 850,000 of them do. I did my homework last night. Anyway, be excited about your profession. You must love what you do. You have to totally love what you do. And I know that's not always easy. And we have those tough days where we get up, and I have them too, where it's like, oh man, I got to put that smile on, because nobody really cares. Nobody really cared what I was going through for those months of after horrific surgery. Nobody cared, and the pain, and you just gotta be happy, and that's okay, because again, that's what saved my life. So be happy. If you're having a bad day, stay home. Take a mental health day. You've got no business bringing it out into the public. You're in a service business, and you're representing everyone else, and I mean this. So please, put on your happy smile, okay? Yeah, you can do it. We can all do it. You must start every day off with positive affirmations. And this is a real big one, positive affirmations. Affirmations, are very simple. They all start with I am, right? I am happy. I am well. I am rich. I'm going to have another sale today. I am, right? That I am is so important. That I am actually, if you were to study as I have and take programs on it, you'd find out what I did. That it came from history on the planet. Actually, it's history. Where Moses went to the mountain, and there was a burning bush there. And Moses went to the bush that was talking to him and said, "Who are you?" And the bush said, "I am." Say, "I am who I am." So, this is not a Bible class. This is a business class. This is business, but this is life. And I'm just saying, these affirmations are so important. My coaching clients have to tell me, they have to prove to me too, and I know, because you can't keep this back, that they have done affirmations every single morning. And that's part of their little homework assignment. It's easy, but we need to do that, okay? You must have a visionary, you must be a visionary, and you must believe. Visionary, I was talking with our video fella here. Where's Trevor? There you are. Cute, handsome young man up here. About visions and having visions, and how important it is to visualize and beliefs. You must have fun. You gotta be happy, right? You're gonna have cocktail hour after this. I hope you're all hanging around doing some social networking. I love you. You're a guy. I love that energy. Yeah, well, you're the only honest one. The rest of them, like, I can't wait, but I don't want to say anything because that's just not right. I'm from California. We don't drink much here, or less, much or less. But you have to have fun. This has got to be fun. I teach CE. I did not ever want to teach CE. I do a lot of things I don't ever want to do. Never say never. And I got into it just because I was asked to. And I thought, you know what? For years, I had to take CE like you do. And it's so often boring, and people are in there knitting, or it used to be reading newspapers when we had those things. But I thought, maybe just spunk it up here a little bit and have some fun with this CE stuff. So I do. But you have to have fun in life. All right. Get ahead. Okay. So sales. Sales is the oldest profession in the world. We're going to talk about that. So there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I said just put a different spin on it is what I want to talk about. You use the wheel to sharpen your skills and bring them to the new age. Usually when I tell people that sales is the oldest profession in the world, somebody will argue with me on that. Yeah. Well, that's sales too. Yeah. That's sales. So just thought I'd make sure everybody here is listening, right? So that being said, sales. Let's talk about the new age, because it's a new age. It's 2019. The first thing we have to say, respecting what are called new views here in New England, are at the present time is that they are not new, but the very oldest of thoughts cast in the mold of these new times is what Ralph Waldo Emerson said way back in 1842 in a lecture read at the Masonic Temple in Boston. So this is not New Age stuff when I talk about belief in yourself, when I talk about affirmations, when I talk about being a visionary, having visuals, visualization. This is not new. It's old. It goes back even before that. But let's talk about goal setting now, because I mentioned that before. So a study of Harvard graduates found that after 20 years, 3% of the folks who had written goals achieved more financially than the other 97% combined. When I talked about goals a minute ago and the importance of having it written down in stone, here you go. I don't do the studies, I just read about it. So number one, you need to set realistic goals. You need to have your business and your personal goals written down. You have to have a time frame on your goals. So today is the 13th of February. Oh, by the way, I have red on because for some reason I thought I was going to be here on the 14th, which is tomorrow. When I told someone that, I said, oh, I'm a day early, and they said, that's good for the people that forgot tomorrow's Valentine's Day for you. Yeah. Goals have to have a time frame. So today is the 13th of February. If you were in one of my coaching classes, I would say, write down on a piece of paper how much money you would like to earn over the next 12 months. And then with that money, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to take a cruise? Do you want to buy a new car? Want to pay for college for your, one of your kids? They have to be attainable goals. So, golly sakes, your average price point of homes here, every single one of you in this room should be earning at the very least, with your eyes closed, $100,000 a year. And I'm doing quick math in my head. There's a lot of homes out there that are going to be sold over the next 12 months. Your price point is awesome. I'm glad it's not mine, because that would be a big chunk of money I got to spend every month on my mortgage. But you know what? That's okay. You're used to it. You know what? You have an incredible price point. All right? When I was in Vermont a little while ago, their average home sale is $130,000. Yeah, that's pretty big difference. Is it harder to sell a $3 million property than a $130,000 house? No, in fact, in my career, the lower priced homes, they were more of a challenge lots of times. They have to be written in specific. Again, I told you that before. You got to get back to the basics of business. So let's get back to the basics of sales 101. Prospecting and farming. So, hey, yeah, you're here to learn something. And this is basic real estate 101. Prospecting and farming for business. There's so much business out there, it's incredible. Always follow up on your mailings. If you're not doing mailings, and if you didn't get mailing out last week with Valentine cards on it, you lost a big opportunity. I had my grandkids last week when I was between trips, sending out Valentine cards to my clients, and by hand. And it's amazing. Already I've gotten responses from those folks. Thank you for writing me. I'm so glad that you were thinking about me. I think the Roosevelts take credit for this, and you've heard it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. How did I close 100 deals a year after year after year as a solo agent? Because I cared about my clients and they knew it. Okay? So follow up on your mailings. If you're not doing mailings, you need to be doing mailings. You all received what I got in the mail last week. I think it was the Realtor magazine from National Association of Realtors. You get it, I get it. So read it. And it talks about the importance of prospecting the old-fashioned way, with handwritten letters. I know postage has gone up to 55 cents, but at an average home sale of 508, 900,000, you tell me? You can afford to do that. If you get one piece of business out of it, it's worth it, isn't it? Knock on doors. Well, I don't believe you have a do not knock rule here yet. Who are your neighbors? You should know who and every one of your neighbors, if you're in a community, and these houses are pretty close together, a lot of the ones that I flew in over. If you're in that kind of a development, you would want to know who your neighbors are. And I will tell you the truth, the worst thing that could happen to you, realtor nightmare, is that your neighbors don't know what you do for a living, and you leave this afternoon or tomorrow and you go home, and when you get to your house, there's a for sale sign next door to your house that's not your name on it, someone else's. You're going to see that for 6 months. That's going to give you a heartache every single day. And you know why that happens? Majority of times that happens is because your neighbor doesn't know who you are, for one thing, and they don't know what you're doing for a living, number two. Okay? And why would you want to sell your neighbor's house more than somebody else? Well, I just had that conversation with my neighbor a few days ago. The reason why I want to have the opportunity to market that property right next door to mine is because what happens to the value of that house absolutely directs the value of my own real estate. Doesn't that make sense? And they're out there interviewing 3 other people, and she said, oh, that's going to make me stop right there. We're going to hire you. Well, of course. Hope. Anyway, no, they did. Don't be a secret agent. We're your realtors. I heard WCR. Somebody said, are there WCR members in here? I got 3 hands that went up. Well, I'm going to do the woo. The rest of you, I have to tell you, 20 years of being a member of WCR, Women's Council Realtor, and it involves men as well as in 2009. Get involved in this organization if you want to make more money. If you're really looking to make more money, get involved in Women's Council of Realtors organization. This is a major, awesome networking for full-time realtors all the way across the country. Statistically, all of the Women's Council of Realtor members are earning up to 40% more than agents who are not members. And it's the referral process and knowledge and what goes on. So if you're not a member, you got 3 hands. Put those hands up again. So the rest of you take a look at those folks and go find out how you can get membership in Women's Council. But don't be a secret agent. Wear your realtor pins, your name tag. Quite a few of you have name tags on. I love that. And I will tell you, I sold a lot of homes, honest to God, by wearing a name tag, standing in a food line, and people would say to me, oh, in fact, one lady, I was in the food line with my sister Ann. She was going back home to Massachusetts. We were at, it wasn't a food line, it was McDonald's, and I don't go there. But she wanted a cup of coffee, so I'm standing in line, my name tag's on. The lady behind me said, she said, I get your stuff, your mailings all the time. And I'm thinking, I don't mail. She told me where she lived, to a complex. I said, I'm thinking to myself, I never mailed anything over there. But she said, I get your mailings all the time. She said, I'm going to put my house on the market. She said, would you come over and take a peek at it? Well, of course I did. She was a nurse that worked at the local hospital. She was married to a doctor. And because I had a name tag on and went over there, she liked what I had to say. She listed with me. She bought the other beautiful home with me. And then her sister, who was a nurse also, ended up working with the name tag. These are true stories. You can't make this stuff up. Wear your name tag everywhere you go. Even to the funeral home. Where's Burke? Just kind of have it on by mistake. But anyway, they might need to sell their house. For sale by owner systems. People want to know, again, how do you close 100 deals a year? You have to work the for sale by owners. And they're out and about here. They're out here probably now more than a lot of years in the past because we all have pretty good markets, right? So they think they can do what you can do. And I always tell them, Mr. and Mrs. For Sale by Owner, I highly respect the fact that you think you can do what I do. I do this full time. And so I tell them, I remind them of this movie. You can use this story, it's a real story. The movie was Castaway that was out a number of years ago with Tom Hanks. Remember that movie? And if you had seen the movie, he had a toothache, and he took out his own tooth in the movie. I couldn't even watch it. It was awful. But you can pull out your own teeth. You know that in this country, legally, you can extract if you had a toothache. I don't know why you want to do it, but you could do that. So you can sell your own house, right, without having a license. So you need to let people know that it's as painful trying to sell it by yourself as it is pulling out your own tooth, right? Let them know that. That'll wake them up. According to the National Association of Realtor Statistics, agent-assisted homes had higher selling prices than did for sale by owners. So why I'm going to ask you to please, the next time you see a for sale by owner, don't just drive by and say, oh, I don't want to talk to them. I don't think I have a good script. Please call them up. And when you see the FSBO, change the letters in your mind to the word help. H-E-L-P. Those people need your help. What I have my grandkids and kids doing right now is if they're driving anywhere, if they're in a car coming home from a game or whatever, and they see a for sale by owner sign, I know they have a cell phone on them, so I ask them to take a picture of that for sale by owner sign and send it to Graham. And when they do, they get a little reward from me, and then I get a person that I can contact to talk to them about how I'd like to help them net more money than they'd be doing if they did this themselves. So call or visit the for sale by owners and talk to them about your services. Don't ever ask for a listing. This is all from the top producers. This is all a synopsis I put together for you. Start a casual conversation, and then the next thing you know, when they know you, like you, and trust you, they're going to want to hire you. Isn't that right? Okay, so decrease your stress by working smarter. Anyone who really knows me knows that I'm high touch, but I'm not high tech, and I'm okay with that. And don't let technology get in the way of your career. We have a lot of technology in the industry today, I get that, but it shouldn't stop you from doing your business. If you're not very technical, then hire someone in high school to help you, or really, you have to be. For those agents who have no desire to deal with technology, this is not the career for them, unfortunately. But let's see how we can decrease your stress. Sharpen and use your time management skills. I teach a whole program on life management, and that's how you'll sell over 100 homes a year. To-do list. This is another one of my biggies. You want to know how did you sell 100 homes a year and have a life? I start every day out, and even today, with a to-do list, simple little to-do list, and it tells me what I'm going to do throughout the day. And if anyone in this room has that, you're a mega producer. I'll tell you that right now. If you haven't, and you want to be the mega producer, this is how you get through the day. This is how you keep your systems in order. This is how you keep in touch with your clients on a regular basis. How are we doing with time? Good. Okay. Work during periods of high productivity. You know those periods. There's times when you have higher energy, and Jennifer has energy all the time. I think you were just bouncing around up here. Do you ever have a low energy level? No. Under promise and over deliver. This is a big one. So if you told someone that you were going to have a CMA for them on Friday, don't go there on Friday and say, oh, well, I had this meeting, company meeting I had to go to, so I'm not going to be able to get it to you until next week. They don't care. Do it the other way around. Have it for them on Thursday. Excuse me. Stay educated on the latest computer technology. You have to do this where, the whole life is cloud-based. You have to be on top of everything today, and you have to be very, educated on the latest technology that's going on. Pretend each day is like the day before you go on vacation. My house looks pretty good almost all the time because I'm away a lot, because you know what? I think, God forbid something happens, plane goes down, and they go over clearing out the house and see the laundry wasn't done or the dishes are in the sink now. So it does work. File it, address it, or toss it. I used to suffer with something I called pileitis. So on the road a lot, the mail stopped, and I had this huge pile of mail, and I just look at it, throw it over, look at it, throw it over. Got higher and higher and higher, till I took programs and classes on personal organization and mental health, and this really comes under that. So this is it's a fat process, file it, address it, or toss it. So use systems. I do train systems. I have incredible programs that I train to a lot of agents on systems. Every business has to have systems. When you have good listing systems, selling systems now they say here, and buyer systems, for sale by owner, expireds, when you have these systems down, the sky is not the limit. By the way, Mom and Dad used to tell me as a little girl, Ellen, the sky's the limit. But we know differently, don't we now? The sky's not the limit, because we know there's no limit. There's no limit. And there's no limit to how far and how high you can go when you have systems that are proven that when you put them into play. Let's see. So, convert every single call, text, or email into an appointment. This is big, okay? I can't stress this enough. So today, we get a lot of inquiries on your listings through email, correct? Through texting, right? Once in a while, people will even pick up a phone and call you. Is anybody getting calls? Anybody ever received a call in the last 6 months to ask about, did you? You're shaking your head, yes? Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I'm not here alone. So today, I just want to tell you about those calls today. When someone in this country picks up a phone to call about anything that they want to buy,
These people are almost 100%, they say 97% serious buyers. I'm going to say I think they're 100% serious buyers. Think about it. When was the last time any one of you in this room picked up the phone to call someone, to call a business to find out how much the tires would cost on your car, unless you needed to replace the tires? I drive 2 new cars. I got my Beamer, I got my Audi, and I don't care how much the tires cost because the cars are new. But there were times in my life when I didn't have newer cars and I had ones that needed to have tire replacements that I did call on. Does this make sense? And today, more than ever, when anyone calls you or your offices on anything that's got to do with real estate, these people are not tire kickers, and you need to have a really good dialogue, script dialogue, to convert that call into an appointment, okay? And what you need to do is you always answer a question with a question. This is sales. Whenever you ask for the price or a location of a property, you always say, what was it about that home that you liked? It's a whole script. It's a process that I have 60 minutes to try to condense hours worth of information to you, but I've got this much for you, and I will send you slides. Anybody that would like them, you can send me an email, and I will send you slides on this so you might be able to get some of this. You need the customers. You need to get a customer's name, address, phone number, and email address. This is basic sales, one-on-one. And then you need to schedule an appointment, okay? Listings are the backbone of the business. I say realtors don't grow old. They just grow listless. Any agent in this room has listings. You're in business. So when I started out as a new agent, I wanted to kind of work with the buyers because I'm not crazy about paperwork. And till I looked around my office with 60 other agents in it, and the top agents were the listing agents. And so I thought, I got to focus my energy on becoming a listing agent. And I can assure you that those of you who have done that, you're there. We got a panel coming up next of top producers, and I'm sure every single one of you are mega listing agents. According to the National Association of Profile of Home Buyers and Sellers, this is important for you to know, sellers interview only one agent. And why is that important? Because when you go out on a job opportunity, as I call it today, or you might have called it once, a listing appointment, you need to go in there with a very strong, solid presentation so that you can secure the listing. All right? You want to sell yourself, and you want to sell your company. You sell the strengths and benefits of Realty One Group, and then you sell the strengths and benefits of who you are. Because when they like you, they'll hire you. So, another important aspect of how you close all these deals, and by the way, in my service area, my average price home was closer to $290, $280, but I earned almost $500,000 a year in sales, and it's a great place to be. But I never wanted any of my deals to die either, and I have a real problem when people tell me my deal died. Come on, put some CPR in it, try to keep it alive. There's a whole art to negotiations. So negotiate, learn the art of negotiations, and be prepared to overcome objections. Understand your value, and this is a really important part of what I need to share with you before we've got a few more minutes, but I'm big on this one. We're one group here, so I can talk to you when I speak to groups where there's some people maybe that aren't in your company, so I won't talk that. I won't talk commission, but I can talk apples, okay? And there are people in our business today who are discounting their fee-for-service. They're all over the place. We have companies that have come into the business these days because of the market changes, who are we call disruptors. They've got a great way, give you a key here and you can, we'll buy your house from you immediately. You don't have to do anything, but do studies on that, because if you want to know what's really going on in consumer deception, you'll find out that the people that are giving their key over to one of these disruptor companies are actually netting about 30% less than what they would have done had they hired any one of you. And by the way, those companies are also charging them up to 12.5% fee, 12.5%. So if any of you are having a difficult time getting your fee for service and what you think you're worth, it's because maybe you don't know what you're worth. If you want to make more money today in the business of real estate, with the business that you have or that you're going to be getting, how you do it is you make your own raises, and you can make your own layoffs, by the way. We don't need the government to do it. We could do it. Seriously, you can lay yourself off if you decide you don't want to get up in the morning, and you can give yourself a raise by asking for a different fee for service, can't you? And I'm a big one on this. You know, you have to say to them always, this is the legal part of it, although all fees are negotiable by law, you must know how much you're worth before you can go on a job interview. And if you don't know your value, you know, it's trouble. You're going to work just as hard for less. So what's a dollar bill worth? I got to do this because I got stuff in my pocket that I got to get rid of. And so right now I got this $20 bill somewhere in here. Oh yeah. So, all right, so what is this bill worth? I'm going to take Mr. Huh?
0.
Well, I'm going to ask you. Oh, what? Anybody? What's this worth? I need somebody up front. It's worth $20? You get the 20. All right, so this is worth $20, this fellow says. This is a $20 bill. I didn't make it, by the way. It's, you know, it came from the bank. So you think this person, okay, so in the business of real estate, what happens to us sometimes is people kind of try to beat us up every now and then. Sometimes they crumple us a little bit, right? So now, what do you think this is worth? Do you all think it's worth 20 bucks? Okay, so now, probably never happened to any of you, but it happened to me in my career. There were times when people actually stepped on it. Like, really? They tried to put me down. And so anyway, so, now what do you think it's worth? You think that's worth 20? You have to buy drinks tonight? You have to buy drinks tonight. There's your 20 bucks. 20 bucks for coming in here today. Congratulations. Hey, you all think it's $20. So what are you worth? Because if you discount your fee for service, if you discount your fee, then you're discounting me too. And I would like you to think about that. And I don't have the time to go into it any further to really get into this, but I have systems that will help you be able to render your fee for service, whatever you think it is. So, I want to talk just for a second about the Code of Ethics and Standard of Practice of Real Estate, because this is powerful. This is our preamble, and it reads, "Under all is the land, upon which is wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend the survival and growth of free institutions and of our civilization. The realtors, free institutions, the realtors should recognize that the interest of the nation and its citizens require the highest and best use of the land and the widest distribution of land ownership. They require the creation of adequate housing, the building of functioning cities, the development of productive industries and farms, and the preservation of a healthful environment." Get this. Such interests impose obligations. And I'm reading this to you because I'd like you to leave here today being so excited, so proud of who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, and know your why. Such interests impose obligations beyond those of ordinary commerce. They impose grave social responsibility, get this, and a patriotic duty to which realtors should dedicate themselves, and for which they should be diligent in preparing themselves. Realtors, therefore, are zealous to maintain and improve the standards of their calling. This is a calling. You're not sitting in this business in this room because you got nothing else to do. You've been in other businesses and jobs in your life, probably. Those were jobs. I gotta tell you, this is a calling. Think of it as a calling. It's not a calling for everyone. That's why I'm so excited to be with you, because we've all been called to this. And obviously, you feel that way or you wouldn't be here today. You would have made that excuse. It's a calling to share, and to share with their fellow realtors is why I'm really here to share, too, a common responsibility for its integrity and honor. Boom. Okay? So, take that to the next level. Put a mirror and look and believe in yourself. The public needs your help in what is probably their most valuable asset, that's their home. So elevate our level of professionalism through dedicated efforts to work in others' best interests. This is not about you. It's not about you getting that deal together and having that happen. It's about someone who wants to be in a new home or someone who needs to sell a home. And when we all think in the same way, then our business is going to soar. Maintain honesty and integrity. Live and work your daily life using the National Association Code of Ethics. There's 17 articles. And you know what? When I was worried about my reputation, I didn't know we had a code of ethics. I didn't know that the golden rule was something that our industry needs to work by and that we do. And it enabled me to do even better business. So every night, at the end of the day, I could go to bed and rest my head on my pillow and say, you know what, Ellen? You helped people today with their homes, and you didn't walk over anyone to get there. You didn't hurt anyone. Remember the golden rule, do unto others as they would like to have you do unto them. So, In sort of closing here, I want to share with you. So Albert Einstein, because I hear this all the time, you know, he says the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, right? Well, guess what? He was a theorist scientist. He was a scientist. He wasn't a salesperson. We're salespeople, right? So here's the deal about this, doing things over and over again. You want to know how to close 100 deals a year? Make at least $500,000 in your service area here. You could easily go to the million, for goodness sakes, and probably sell even less homes than I did. The numbers here. You want to know how to do that? You do the same thing over and over again. You get up every morning, you do your daily affirmations, okay? You get up every morning, you have your to-do list. You get up every morning and do what you don't want to do, and that's to make lead gen calls. Lead gen calls every day to build your business. So that is the definition in sales of success, doing the same thing over and over again. So don't be so busy making a life that you haven't got time, living that you haven't got time for a life. Schedule a vacation as I did every 6 weeks. You need to have that mental time down. Maintain your sense of humor, please. Purpose of life is to discover your gift. You all have a gift. The work of life is to develop it, which is what you're doing today. You all gifted and you're developing it. Then the meaning of life is to give your gift away. So remember that as you go through your business. So I talked a little bit before about going within. If you don't go within, you will go without. And going within is really, really important. And I could teach you all my systems. And you're probably so smart you can learn them quickly. However, if you don't have that core inside, that foundation of a belief system of who you are, how great you are, what you're doing to help somebody else out, it just doesn't work. You try, but it just doesn't work. So Michelangelo, I don't know if anyone ever went to Venice. It's on my bucket list. I haven't been there yet. But he was asked, how could you have carved such an amazing piece of work? Just amazing. And he said it was very easy. He said, you see, David, the angel, was inside the stone. All I did was chip away. So inside of every one of us, each one of you that's in this room, each individual one of you is an angel, a really good person, or you wouldn't be in this business. Okay? So chip it away and do what you have to do to increase your business. So Bert got me out here. He flew me out here. He paid to get me out here. He paid to put me up in a hotel. And because of that, my pay it forward to Burke is, I said, if everyone in that room could do one more piece of business, only one, in the next 30 days, then you'll get your money back, at least. Believe in yourself, go within, or you will absolutely go without. I do coaching. I guess I'm not going to even show you that. It didn't come up, so maybe it wasn't supposed to come up. Because I'm not here to pitch myself, because I don't like to pitch, I present. I do one-on-one coaching, I do it myself. I have one other person I work with in New York, and I do it on purpose like that, because if you're interested in getting good coaching, you don't need a whole line of somebody else doing it. I only take certain people on. And I do training programs. And I know you have great training here. You got the best training, I know that. But it's some great training programs, and how I train is with energy. I do a lot of work with the Realty One group in Phoenix, in the Phoenix area. I love them as well. And I'm watching them grow their business. So I would love to have an opportunity that would be up to you and your leadership to see if you'd like to have me come in. I promise you, you will not be, and I'm not putting anyone down, but you will not be sweat hot when you're done. You will be one of the best in the business. Best is building exceptional salespeople through training. It's actually a book that I wrote, which I didn't ever want to write a book, but I had a lot of people after one of my sessions say, I want to take it home with me. So I wrote a book. It's the best little real estate book ever. I actually dragged 10 copies along with me from Charlotte, and I don't want to take them back because they're heavy. They're not big readers, though. They're little readers on purpose, because we don't have the time for big readers. But part of my new big why this year is in April. I met this incredible fellow that I've used in a lot of my classes, and I never, ever thought that I would meet him in person. And maybe you've heard of him. His name is Nick Boyle. Nick is a young man, 37 years old, who was born with no arms and no legs. And he is an amazing, amazing person. And after meeting him, I tried to get a hug from him, but I said, Nick, you don't have any arms. So he agreed. He couldn't hug me, but I hugged him. We laughed. Nick is, I say that with time. If you have ever met Nick, I mean, he's just so natural. So I said to Nick, you know what I'm going to do? If God allows me to continue doing what I'm doing right now, then I'm going to donate a portion of my, my speeches that I'm doing, my keynotes, whether it's a class, coaching, to your cause. Because Nick can go to places on the planet. This is, well, your money is... Nick, this fella can go to places on the planet that nobody else can go to. And he can preach and talk about good things and how to be good people. And so I have 10 copies of this book. They're $20 a piece. If you don't want to get it here, you can get it on my website, but it's a lot more there. There's stuff in my book that will help you build your business. You're going to get that back. You're going to get that back. And
how many you got left? How many did you have here? 9?
I got 9.
All right, let's
I
pick
got
9
9 now.
winners right now. I'm going to pay for it. So
You're gonna pay for
first
them?
donation. I'll pay for it.
Well, Burke Smith is, wow. Okay. And I will sign them. But I'm going to leave you with one thing, and then, because I know we have a great panel that's coming up next. And I just, it's about that belief thing. And so there was a man that walked on the planet 2,000 years ago, a human man. And he never ventured more than 150 miles from his home, 150 miles. And by our standards, he was not very successful because he lived with his mother. He was a carpenter. And I'll tell you what he said. Please remember this, because if you take nothing else out of the time that we've had together today, remember what that man said. As ye believe, so shall it be done unto you. God bless you.
Thank you.